Taiwan, a country I'm proud to say I'm from. In my career as a media entrepreneur, I've spoken to movers and shakers here who make global headlines. But what I'm most excited about are the up-and-coming forces of my generation. They're young, they're creative, and dare to defy the status quo. Follow me as I meet emerging leaders of Taiwan who lift us, who inspire us, who are changing the world, starting in Taiwan. This is Game Changers with EMILY TSAI.
In 2015, an earthquake struck Nepal, killing 9,000 people and injuring more than 100,000. Children at the time were especially impacted. Many of them were pulled out of school to help rebuild their communities. And that's when two college students in Taiwan at the time, they established an organization to go to Nepal to help children head back to school. It's been 7 years. The NGO that they established, Calls Over Ridges, they have since then helped more than 6,000 students across 14 different schools in 5 different countries in Southeast Asia. For their work, they were recognized as 40 under 40 future leaders of Taiwan. From a college campus to a province in Nepal, our game changer today, EMILY TSAI, at just 29 years old, she's changing how we conduct international development work. Welcome, Emily. So good to have you.
I'm so glad to be here.
What you do is really unique because I think for a lot of people, they launch a project in Taiwan first in their home base, and then eventually they scale it internationally. But you guys are very, very unique. You launched your NGO in Nepal. It's been 7 years. How many countries are you in now?
Currently, in 2023, we're serving 3 countries, Nepal, Malaysia, and Philippines. We're launching multiple programs and directly cooperating with the local communities, including public schools or the local villagers that we are trying to co-design more sustainable educational programs that can serve the kids on a daily basis.
Transportation programs to help them get to school because some of these places are 2 hours away, for example, really difficult to get to. You've launched lunchbox programs to help with nutrition, mentorship programs, libraries, bringing computers and English lessons. This is all in a year of 7 years' work, and you're still in your 20s. So bring us back to 2015, when you were a student at National Taiwan University at the time. You saw the news, there was a big earthquake in Nepal, and what was going through your head?
At the time, international volunteer work was a trend among college. So we decided to do something with what students can do. So we brought like 30 of our college friends. And at the time, we were naive that we thought that maybe, we recruited some funds from our friends and families. It's just for temporary use. And we also brought some books. We thought that maybe we can accompany the kids to go over the horrific situation they have been through. So we thought that storybooks might be helpful. And when we were there, everything was quite peaceful actually. Every person you met, they are not as afraid. And they were even the ones that are comforting us. Yeah, it's just, you see helicopters and then they come pick up the body. And you can see also the kids' drawing. It's all about helicopters and the people bringing the dead bodies. And then when we walk into the families, we found out that, what's actually behind the earthquake is poverty. Because we can see a big differences on the more wealthier or more well-off people get back to their normal life really quickly. But for those who are really underprivileged, living under poverty line, they were the ones who have to stay in the temporary tents for over 3 to 5 years. So we thought that maybe the earthquake is not the issue. What is the underlying problem is poverty. After earthquake, the school was a mess. But in one of the rooms, we saw their boxes, and we opened it. We saw brand new books, storybooks, and really well illustrated, and they're all in Nepali. So it was actually a donation from an international NGO. And so we just ran to the principal. We were asked this is really expensive. Why you kept all boxes? And
why were they there?
It seems like no one has ever touched it before. And the principal gave us a really, we thought it was a really shocking quote he said. He said, I didn't know how to use it, and I am afraid that the kids might like kind of randomly draw it, tear it. So he is afraid that if the NGO came again, they will be angry at us of not using that material. So he just decided not to do anything at all. We thought that maybe this is a start. We had a meeting with principal, and we had meetings with teachers, and then we decided to reallocate the classrooms. So it was a small project, but realized that this kind of co-working system is what is lacking through all international development work. Most of us we think we're foreigners, so we want to have a quick effect for those we're wanting to work with. But then we forgot that the life is not during the period we stay. It's their everyday life. So we try to walk into their lives and to see what's on their mind. So this is what actually initiated all of our work. Every project, every programs we launched, we tried to sit down first
with the local communities
and to see what they want to do also.
You said you brought 30 classmates over. And then to go from there to then working with the teacher to have some sort of a program in place. How long did that take?
Actually, we spent almost 2 years doing home surveys. And for each individual home, it might take us 1 to 2 hours to visit one and to record, because in Nepal is like from mountains to mountains, so we have to walk. So that's
hence the name Calls Over Ridges.
Yes, that's actually why the name is Calls Over Ridges, as the distance. So when we walk into the families and we ask about like, what do you think about your kids' future? And then they will say, I have no idea. So it seems like education is so far away. It's like they really have to coast through mountains to reach that education. So what we're doing is trying to bring them closer to what they can get. So by like inviting kids to school, by awarding them scholarship, or designing parents program. So I think what we're doing is trying to bridge the gap between the community and what they think they're so far away from education. And I think the most important of all is around the kids. Because when we ask them, what do you want to do in the future? When we ask to maybe like 10-year-old kids,
what do they say?
Do you want to guess? Most of them, because in Nepal, being a soldier is, is guaranteed. Because you have salary, and that's the first answer.
They want to be soldiers.
Soldiers, farmers, truck drivers, because that is all what they see every day. And we also want to let them know they have more options through education. They can also be tourist guides, or they can also work in the capital city, and then can also go abroad. So these are the things we're trying to bridge them. What they're lacking in their life. Maybe education is the bridge that we can walk through them to a better or brighter or more options of their own future. I think the awareness of the community that they know education of their next generation is important, and it is what they can work on.
I'm curious about that when kind of international development organizations work with local communities and children like that. How close are you to the children? Do you keep in touch with them?
I can remember about 100 kids staying, but through that process, we're passing on the knowledge and the workflow to our local groups. Because actually people, they speak Nepali and I can only speak English. So without that important character of that translators, we can't do the work. And then we realized that these people are constructed of maybe Nepali teenagers. And some of them at the time were still college students. They're luckier than the ones we served. They grew up in Kathmandu, the capital city, but most of them are also getting sponsored by other organizations. So through that process, I think that 2-year survey, we kind of walked the teenagers group also into this field, because at the time what they were thinking of is also leaving their own country. But then when they realized that they can do something for their own country by designing educational programs, by interacting with kids, by interacting with more teachers. They decided that they can do something on their own. They stayed and also they developed all of the programs. So in 2017, they registered under the Nepali government as an official NGO. They're called Supervisor Nepal. And we're also really happy that they took on the responsibilities and to really start to initiate more people like them.
You being from Taiwan, does that create a bit of awkwardness? Because 2017, right, China was the largest direct foreign investment in Nepal, the second largest group for tourists in Nepal. So for you being from Taiwan, was it ever awkward? How do you deal with that?
I think the main challenge is that we couldn't say this work is from Taiwan. Like if it's in a public event, the name of the sponsor or the host, we can't show Supervisor Taiwan. So instead, we show Supervisor and Supervisor Nepal. So maybe because we all look Asian, so they might not know where we are from. But actually, having the identity of Taiwan is actually, I think, both a challenge, also a blessing. So the challenge part is that we have to maneuver another way. When we are negotiating with the local government, we tend to ask our colleague in Nepal to represent us. Our ultimate goal is to leave the impact within the local community. So actually this become a blessing because we are forced to find ways to make the Nepal team independent as soon as possible.
Interesting.
And so Supervisor Nepal is actually means a lot to the local community because they finally know that they don't need to rely on another international NGO for event details or for telling them what to do. I was discussing about one English program with the local community and the principals. So he just thought it's just another INGO. But when he got to have meetings with us, he realized Supervisor is quite different as from other group because we try to let them own the process. And he realized, that is the best part of Taiwan. He gets to know we're different from other people. So that's when Taiwan brand is being built. They have a really good impression about Taiwanese people.
That's so interesting to be able to problem solve like that. Of course, I asked that question because as Taiwanese organizations or Taiwanese peoples in general, right, when we go internationally to work, you often have to finesse between this fine line. But you figured out a way to use that and turn that into a strength.
I think we're an NGO in Taiwan, so all of our donors, they come from Taiwan. And Taiwanese really have a generous heart, as whenever disasters happen in the world, everyone can observe that Taiwanese will always donate, and I think it's in the top list. So I think Taiwanese do have that nature to really see that human part, because we don't care where you're from and we just want to help on the part we can. So I think being able to start our NGO in Taiwan as well, because over 5,000 donors, they are providing the sustainable fund for our organization in Nepal. So I think this is also one strength we're having being a Taiwanese, although the name of Taiwan is facing some challenges due to other factors. But as being on the island of Taiwan, I think we get to inherit that openness and also that generosity to really take care of no matter who comes on the island or no matter who we face in the world. So I guess that is one more thing I want to add on about the Taiwan.
But then it takes people like you to really do that work, to figure it out, and in changing, making a much better place.
Okay, thank you.
Let's take a break. Hey, welcome back. This is Game Changers with Emily Wu. This is where I talk to the cool, young, hip people in Taiwan making a difference in the world. Today we've been sitting here with EMILY TSAI. Emily's organization, Calls Over Ridges, for the past 7 years have been bringing children in Nepal back to school. You are expanding your international network now. During COVID, it was a disruption of the way we went to school, remote learning and whatnot, and that's entirely your focus, which is bringing kids back to school. But as I know it, you ran into very particular challenges depending on the communities, the landscapes of the communities. Tell me about what happened during COVID. I think there was some also very creative problem solving that you did.
Yeah, and most of the villages, internet is not there. So the schools are closed and the kids are forced to stay at home. We came up with a plan. It consists of like a notebook and complimentary guidebook. So what we did is we directly collaborate with the local government so they can submit all of the teachers, they come to the government play office to pick up all of the packages, because if the kids have the package, they don't know what to study. But we can't do internet, they don't have laptop or the internet is not working, so what to do? So they turned the local radio to the classrooms.
Like FM radios.
Yeah, they just turn in, and because while some of them have to look after the animals, so when they're watching the cows eating the grass, they can still like open the learning package and listen to the radio. So from different days, they have different subjects, and different schools teachers will take turns to talk through what is on the material.
School by radio.
Yeah, so that is what we did.
Yeah, wow. And you also had like school stations as well?
We discovered that there are places like the villagers, they get to gather together when they're like talking. So we changed that kind of spots. So it's not like a well-built house or rooms. It's just like a random flat grass and people can just gather there under the sun, because actually they still have the national test, like final exam, so they can go on to the next grade. This is not cancelled, so the students still have the pressure to finish their own work. So that's why we came up with this solution to really help the kids to bring school to the children instead of bringing them to school. So this is what we did in COVID.
Coming out of COVID also, this also made you change some of your future plannings, correct? You're now working harder on even training the local staff, and you launched a kind of an incubation program. In 2021,
we initiated an online incubator program, and this program lasted for 2 years. We submitted, we have actually received over 200 recipients.
Where were the applicants coming from?
They are coming from 5 countries, Vietnam, Indonesia, Philippines, Myanmar, and Cambodia.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think that pivoting of COVID is also really crucial for us, because we realize as an NGO, we don't need to work always on site. We really need to distribute our energy and to find the right person on the right place.
Yeah.
So we believe that this is what we will be aiming for in the future as well. We'll not only focus on educational impact on kids, but also we will have a great focus on how to really get people involved in international development work, and also on educational sector. What are the professionals we will be working on? What are the talents we will be recruiting and training from?
Yeah.
This will be the 2 important things I will be focusing on also in the future.
Yeah, that seems like a lot of new work and challenges coming along. But bring it back to bigger picture is an ecosystem of international development work. Is this how it's evolved as well? How have you seen it change over the years?
Yeah, nowadays people start to focus on how to bring the influence from bottom up, to turn their focus on to listen, to even learn from the farmers, learn from the villagers. Although they are not educated, but they can tell us what we need to know. So I think this is the turning point of this field, as more of the NGOs are shifting their focus as well, not only on short-term, one-off donation, but focusing on what we can bring the change in a more sustainable way, and to bring different sectors, like not only education, nutrition is important. So how do we balance 2 impact in one project? How do we combine more people and more professionals in one program we're designing? So I think this is what we also get to learn from other NGOs as well, as we are working alongside with them.
Wow, what a journey, a 7-year journey as just the beginning from your college days, seeing the news event and then saying, wait, one of our friends knows a little bit about this place, so let's go because we can do something. As you said, you had the time and resource and a bit of a know-how. Quickly, you were able to pull together this community of others who are also helping, and you've changed the lives of 6,000 students to date and more and counting. It's such incredible work.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, there's a question before we let you go to do more impact, to make more impact in the world. There's a question that we asked everybody here, which is, out of your accomplishments so far, out of everything you've been able to do, how much was given to you versus how much did you have to fight for?
I think a lot. Almost everything is given to me. Till date, my family, the education I have received in Taiwan, in National Taiwan University, and also the trust I get to have from the crowd of Taiwan, the trust I get to have from the local communities. I think it's all in a way, it's all given. But in a sense, we're also working really hard during the process. I remember we used to visit, it's also a founder. He owns a news business company in Taiwan, and we tried to ask him about his opinion. And at the time, we were about to graduate. And everyone we met during our journey, they're all supportive. But he was the only one out of his busy day actually said really bad things about us for almost an hour. He was really angry, and he was like, "Oh no, what's wrong with your plan? It's not constructive." He kept asking, "Are you really serious about your work? Are you really taking this plan to start your own NGO?" Although I felt like, why he has to be so angry at me? Maybe he had a bad day, but then I realized he was actually also giving us something really precious. We never get setbacks because the work we're doing is charity and the work, because without his cautioning, we might be too naive to really construct our own plans into the practical version. We might still be in that. Yeah, if we just ask because we're young and because we're in the charity sector, everyone should give us this chance. But no, the reality is we also need to work really hard to earn the trust and to demonstrate that we are fulfilling their trust.
Oh, thank you for sharing that story. I think it's completely gone a full circle, just seeing how much you've worked to help others, but then hearing behind the scenes of that, along the way, you must have really good mentors that helped you as well and guided you, and in very, even if surprising ways. And I can't wait to see more of what you will do in the future. And I think each of us watching this today, whatever country that we're from, I think we can all be a part of this ecosystem, whether we're a part of the local communities, making that change and giving that feedback, or if we have a bit of more of that resource to bring in kind of international collaborations and partnerships and building out that work in a systematic level. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, that's all we have for today. If you're also a game changer in your country, do reach out to EMILY TSAI. And as for me, Emily Waiwu, you can find me on my socials. You are watching TaiwanPlus. Follow and subscribe to all our channels. See you next time.